Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd do a bit of a book haul. I haven't done one in a while. Books tend to accumulate around here from various sources. Sometimes I can't even remember where they're from. Um, but I've noticed a few stacks sitting around that I never got to. I never did a video of. So they're from a hodgepodge of sources, but I thought I'd share them with you. So first here is The Scalp Hunters, Abnaki Ambush at Lovewell Pond, 1725 by Alfred E. Keyworth and Raymond G. Potvin. And this was given to me by one of my trustees at the library to read. It was published by Brandon Books, division of Brandon Publishing Company in Wellesley, Mass. This thing came out in 2002. Just a little brief about it. In 1725, traffic in human scalps was part of the colonial economy. Traditional warrior trophies were exchanged for goods in Canada. French authorities also bought live captives, especially females and children. Some women married Frenchmen, others were exchanged for French prisoners held in Boston or sold back to relatives for cash. The English posted bounty notices soliciting for Abnaki scalps. Friends and relatives formed stock companies to finance scalp hunting expeditions as contestants sought a decisive victory to break the impasse. So, pretty gross. The route for English colonial prisoners back into French Canada was actually right down the road here. Part of it was. We're not far from Old Fort Number 4, the Crown Point Military Road, all that stuff. So the trustee gave me this to read, and I will read it. Sounds fascinating. So on an entirely different note, Telling the Truth, Gospel as Tragedy, Comedy, and Fairy Tale by Fred Buechner, one of my father's favorite writers. A preacher. Harper and Row Publishers, New York, and this came out in 1977. So I have a lot of my father's Buechner books, but I didn't have this one, so I was glad to get it. Then we have Elaine Pagels and Karen L. King reading Judas, The Gospel of Judas and the Shaping of Christianity. I enjoy her research. So I'm looking forward to that. When did that come out? I should probably say. Penguin Books, 2007. Okay. And then Robert Alter, The Art of Biblical Narrative. This is a standard in the for people in theology or biblical history or any of that sort of thing. But this is a literary approach to the Bible. Great translator. You've probably seen some of his stuff. This is Basic Books, a member of the Perseus Books group, and this is from 1981. So I've actually read that a long time ago, but I wouldn't mind rereading it. But I don't have a copy anymore. All my theology books were out of that lost library that I mournfully mention occasionally. Then here's a bunch of books by a fella I studied heavily when I was a divinity student, and that's Walter Brueggemann. So here's Great Prayers of the Old Testament. And there he is. And this is 2008. And then here is Worship in Ancient Israel, The Essential Guide by Walter Brueggemann. That was Abingdon Press. What was the last one? The last one was Westminster John Knox Press. So this Abingdon Press, Worship in Ancient Israel, An Essential Guide, out of Nashville. It's 2005. So it's exegetical, working through the text. Then here, another Walter Brueggemann is The Practice of Prophetic Imagination, Preaching an Emancipating Word, Fortress Press. This one's actually a hardback, but the others are in paper. Out of Minneapolis, and this is from 2012. And then finally, Inscribing the Text, Sermons and Prayers of Walter Brueggemann, again Fortress Press, and again a hardback. And this one is edited by Anna Carter Florence, again Minneapolis, and this is 2004. So some Walter Brueggemann for those of you that are interested in him. Then here's a John Hopkins press. This is The Cult of Remembrance and the Black Death. Excuse me. 6 Renaissance cities in central Italy. Nice end papers. This is Samuel K. Cohn, Jr., John Hopkins University Press, Baltimore and London, 1992. And Samuel K. Cohn is a professor of history at Brandeis University and the author of The Laboring Classes in Renaissance Florence. His Death and the Property in Siena, winner of the Catholic Historical Association's Howard R. Moraro Prize for Italian History, is also available from John Hopkins. So a very scholarly study, but I'll give it a shot and see what we think. Excuse me. This next one I've actually dipped into a little already. I had a friend of mine when I was an undergrad who introduced me to Matthew Josephson. And it was a book called The Robber Barons. And this is a biography of him. A popular historian. This thing is, let me see, Yale University Press, 1981. And he lived in that time where you thought he would not be a guy that Joseph McCarthy liked. But quite the writer. I don't have a copy of The Robber Barons anymore, but if I see it, I'd pick it up. It's a good book. Then we have another theology book. This is Harvard Theological Studies and Harvard Divinity School in Cambridge, Mass. This is Mary Magdalene, the First Apostle, The Struggle for Authority by Anne Graham Brock. And this came out, this is Harvard Theological Studies number 51, and this one came out in 2004. This is the third printing in 2004. I have dipped into it a little bit, just because it's such a fascinating subject. And I found this Yale Hermes books. This is their one on Ovid, a hardback. John Harrington, general editor. And it's by Sarah Mack. The other parts of the series were one on Homer, Pindar, Aeschylus, and Hesiod. And this thing came out in 88, so it basically walks you through. Then I have, finally, to wrap this up, sorry about the voice. This is 2 volumes on Eugene ONeill, and they're both from Yale. This one is The Unknown ONeill, Unpublished and Unfamiliar Writings of Eugene ONeill, edited with commentaries by Travis Bogard. You can't really, getting a little bit of glare there. This thing came out in 88. So I had some of his theater, fiction, poetry, criticism, some of his tributes he wrote. So I thought that would be fun. And then here we have the selected letters of Eugene ONeill, edited again by Travis Bogard, but with Jackson R. Breyer. Let's see if we see any of that. And this 1988 Yale University. So, yeah, I like books of letters, famous literary characters or otherwise. So not a bad little Geez, I don't even think I could do one of those Steve pyramids. I'll give it a shot, I guess. There's a lot of different size books here, so you could be asking for disaster, but we're going to give it a shot. And you can see if I pass that test of being able to figure out how to organize these things. This is not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. If you hear a loud crash, you can just say, I told you so. So, a random little book haul. I could say from various places, but the ones I haven't done on the channel, so I thought I'd show them to you, share them with you. So thank you, BookTube.